What's up, everybody? We're back.
Yeah! Hey, welcome back to the funnest show on earth, also known as a Metalhead's Journey. Hey, good news, guys. We've made it back around. This is everybody on this show's favorite list, especially Dave's. We've made it back to the top 20 hair metal records of all time. Guys, I'm excited. Dave, I know you're not because you don't like to have fun. You like to be a big stick in the mud here, but we've made it around to the gold standard of this list. These are the kings of hair metal. This is Motley Crue and their seminal album, Dr. Feelgood, number 11, criminally underrated. This is rated way too low. Dr. Feelgood here. So we'll do a quick history of the band, and then we'll get right into Dave telling you how bad this album is. Motley Crue, formed in Los Angeles in 1981, is an American heavy metal band known for their provocative lyrics, theatrical live performances, and hedonistic lifestyle. Founded by bassist Nikki Sixx, drummer Tommy Lee, guitarist Mick Mars, and vocalist Vince Neil, the band rose to fame in the 80s with albums like Shout at the Devil and Girls, 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 blending glam metal with raw energy and a rebellious attitude. Their music, characterized by catchy riffs and anthemic choruses, helped define the Sunset Strip scene, while their notorious offstage antics marked by excess, scandals, and addiction struggles cemented their bad boy reputation. Despite lineup changes, legal troubles, and a brief breakup in the 90s, Motley Crue has endured releasing 9 studio albums, selling over 25 million records worldwide, and continuing to tour and influence rock music into the 2020s. Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue's 5th studio album, was released on September 1st, 1989, and marked a pivotal moment in the band's career as their best-selling album, achieving multi-platinum status. Produced by Bob Rock, it was recorded in Vancouver and showcased a polished yet gritty sound with hits like Kickstart My Heart and Dr. Feelgood dominating MTV and radio. The album reflected the band's attempt at sobriety during recording, a response to their near-destructive lifestyles, though their party image persisted. It peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and solidified Motley Crue's place as glam metal icons. Yeah. Jason.
Yeah.
You appear to be the only smart one on this channel tonight. Talk to me about your experience here with Motley Crue and this record.
Motley Crue, let's see. They were one of the earlier metal bands that I started listening to, I guess, in this time frame. This album is, and I said it, I guess, last week, but this album in particular is the very first CD that I ever bought. I had planned to display it, and it is currently MIA. I am actually quite butthurt about that.
So, first CD you ever bought, I mean, did you buy it like in or around the time where it came out, or was it like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Dr. Feelgood or Kickstart My Heart that got my attention first, but I bought it at Kmart in Beeville, Texas. I don't even think that Kmart exists anymore.
R.I.P. Kmart.
Yeah, I don't think any Kmart exists anymore.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's, in particular, that one, like, I don't know if it lasted all that long afterwards anyway. But it was the first CD purchase I ever had. I wore it out. I have nostalgia for this album. I was a Motley Crue fan to an extent. I didn't really care for the gimmick so much. I really never got into much of the hair metal scene at all, even though I did know a lot of people whose, older brothers were, man, they looked like they could walk right on the stage with them and you wouldn't blink an eye. But I have a lot of nostalgia for this album. It's a solid album. I thoroughly enjoyed going back and listening to this. I don't remember the last time I actually listened to this album start to finish, but it definitely took me back to, I was a sophomore or a freshman in high school at this time. That was a long time ago. Galaxy far, far away.
I was 4 years old.
Jonah, talk to me about this record.
So I've not been shy about expressing how poorly a lot of the albums on this list have aged. And to a certain point, this one is not necessarily an exception. However, I do think this album is actually really good for certain reasons and kind of not good for other reasons. Primarily, I would say the instrumentation, the the audio quality, or rather the production quality is really good. I did very minimal research, flipping through the Wikipedia page. Bob Rock produced this album, and apparently, I don't know how accurate this is, but according to Wikipedia, Lars Ulrich was so impressed with how good this album sounded, they hired him specifically because of this album to do the Black Album. So I don't think that's a hot take or anything to say that if it were not for this album, we would not have the Black Album, at least the version of it that we have. So for that reason alone, this does get a little bit of a boost. But overall, like I said, it's solid. I think it sounds really good. The guitars, the bass, all the instruments sound great. Obviously, Nikki Sixx being a bass player and being the primary songwriter, and I'm sure having a lot.
Are high.
The bass levels are high, man. They sound good. There's a few songs in particular, like Rattlesnake Shake, where he gets the spotlight, and I'm here for it. As a bass player, I'm always there for it. So yeah, overall positive, I would say, but obviously, being that it's a hair metal / glam metal album, some of the subject matter is a little questionable, and there are some moments where if you're paying attention to what he's saying, you're probably not going to have a good time, and I'm sure Dave will have a lot more to say about that in particular. But yeah, I mean, I would say overall positive for the music side of it, at least. But hair metal is what it is in terms of content, subject matter. So,
yeah, I've been. We'll save Dave for last here, so everybody can click off after I stop talking. Just joking, Dave. Calm down. I read that joke on Reddit. All right. So listen, I've been looking forward to this album on this list for a while. I think we can all share the same sentiment about the hair metal list. That overall, it's been disappointing, probably to say the least. I think there's been some just absolute dog water on this list. So it was refreshing to come across this album. Much of what Jonah said is, the production and the sound, especially coming off the Clash record that we did last week. I mean, talk about the best timing possible for this record to show up. Coming off a big stinker on the rock list, probably one of the worst rated rock albums, if not the worst rated rock album we had on that entire list. So, I think that certainly helps some of this, but I think just the sound was the first thing that really jumped out at me for this.
Yeah.
Man, it's just like, you, Jonah, you called out like Rattlesnake Shake. That it's just, I know we're not trying to cuss on this, show here, but that song, just like the groove in it and the way it's produced, it just, I'll take a line from my boy Buck from Boogie Nights. It just makes you want to freaky deaky, man. Like that, it's just such a good line and a good riff in that song, and the whole thing just sounds great. I mean, listen, the songwriting is the songwriting. It is what it is, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm happy that I've never gotten too caught up in lyrics, and I'm just more interested in overall like the vibe and the sound of the song and the melodies. So like the lyrics never really get me down in any of these songs. Like I used to be really good at learning lyrics, and now I find I struggle unbelievably with like learning new lyrics and new songs. So. The lyrics are never a thing to get me, but if lyrics are your thing, I can understand why there'd be some issues with this album and hair metal in general. But overall, this is outside of the Twisted Sister record. This is the first album that I'm really excited about on this list. What about you, Dave?
Man, I hear all this praise and I just want to come out and say, like, I don't hate this record. I don't even think this is necessarily a bad record. It's just not. I think it's just very clear at this point that hair metal is probably just never going to click with me. At least not traditional. What is widely considered traditional hair metal.
It's like me and progressive rock.
Yeah. I am a lyric guy, and I either consciously or subconsciously I do kind of try to connect with the lyrics on some level, right? Like it doesn't have to be like completely, but like I do like to sing along to songs, and I do kind of like to at least on a surface care about what I'm singing. And here, there's 10 tracks on the official release. Or is it 11? I don't remember.
It's 11, but the first one's just the intro.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's like the two songs that, spoilers, whatever. The two songs that I connect with the most are the songs that are that are the least hair metal, lyric wise. And the music and the production are good, and Josh, you're absolutely right. Like this definitely helped the record coming from the Clash. But man, I can't. This album is like a nothing burger for me. Like, I don't hate it. I could listen to it again, and I probably wouldn't skip any song. Like, I don't think there's any outrights just absolute stinkers for me. But outside of a couple of tracks, like, these all just kind of sound the same to me. Like, I'm just like, it's the same old situation, if you will. And
Nice.
Hot take or whatever, I don't think Vince Neil is much of a he's just there in terms of a singer. He does exactly what he's supposed to do, but I don't think he's super memorable.
Really good. I think he's a better frontman than, say, a true voice.
Well, see, I think that's
like James LaBrie.
I think the problem with a lot of this hair metal is that most of it is about the look and the on-stage presence and the antics, and it's the whole attitude, right? But when you're just listening, when you're just listening to it and you're just listening for the music, like, you don't have all that stuff to lend, and like, I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have anything to attach myself to. This is just like, I have to just listen to it for the music, and unfortunately, it's just fine for me.
Fair enough, Dave.
Mine, I mean, there's really only one answer. To me, like, y'all might say something else, but that I think there's only one answer, and it's Nikki Sixx. I mean, he wrote all the lyrics. He co-wrote every piece of music on here. I think objectively, it's impossible not to pick Nikki Sixx. So I'll go with bass. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But so I'll go with Nikki Sixx. Now, you could also make the argument for Bob Rock to a certain degree, because he did kind of like sober these guys up long enough to like crank out an album. But I'll go with Nikki Sixx.
Dave, I will go with who you should have went with, which was Bob Rock, because I think he absolutely, there's a reason why this is the best-selling Crue album of all time. It sounds great. He was able to sober him up to squeeze out the best songwriting possible that they had. I mean, Dave, we have another Motley Crue record on this one that's probably going to be objectively worse.
Which one's that?
So
there's two more Crue albums on this list.
Oh, two more. Shout at the Devil and Livewire.
I'll get back to you.
Shout at the Devil is good album.
Yeah, okay, but it's probably worse than this one.
Oh no.
We'll see.
But, production-wise, yes.
And look, I could be a bit of a homer here for Bob Rock, because Bob Rock was also one of the guys, and look, this could be a downer for some, responsible for pulling Metallica into that territory where they were being really, creative with Load and Reload, and those are some of my favorite Metallica records. So
I'm sorry, it's just one. It's just Shout at the Devil.
Okay. So I think what Bob Rock brought to to this album, I think stands above everything else on the album. But if I had to choose somebody from the band, I'm choosing Mick Mars. Great sound. I know like all the riffs aren't necessarily his, but just the feel of the record, just I don't know. I really like his guitar playing on this record. Go ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a Nikki Sixx vote for me as well. All the songwriting, the bass, my affinity for bass players and everything, all the reasons that Dave already said, basically.
Look, I'm not going to stray off of what they're saying. It's a Nikki Sixx as well for me. I had no idea to the extent of his basically fingerprints over everything for every song.
Jason, have you seen the movie The Dirt?
Yes,
on Netflix.
Great movie. But I did not.
How are you not familiar with like his? I mean,
no.
That's a Nikki Sixx like.
I did not know that Vince Neil does not have a single song in which he can have credit solo. Zilch. There's not a single song in their entire discography that basically Nikki did not pretty much write or have lead credit, and Vince Neil co-wrote, or Tommy Lee co-wrote, or Mars co-wrote.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Vince Neil is the Dave Mustaine of that band, basically, when he was in Metallica. No writing credits.
That's not true.
Yikes.
Jason, what would you give the cover art and title for this album?
Look, nostalgic for me. The look of it, like I said, it was my first CD buy. The cover art, I gave it 10. It is titled Dr. Feelgood. It has basically the sword and serpent, or the cross and serpent, but it's rebranded to make it metal. Set against basically a tile wall, like say you'd have in a mental hospital, probably.
Yeah.
And the Dr. Feelgood song is super strong. It's in my top 3. Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave the title a 9.
All right, Jason. Sometimes you're smart. Yeah, man. Look, album title, Dr. Feelgood. I like to play on words that we're doing here with a drug dealer. I myself have not sampled stuff from a drug dealer in the past, so I cannot speak from experience. But I'm gonna give it an 8 for the song or for the album title. Cover art, also I'm with you, man. That's a 10 all the way. I think this displays the album perfectly with everything that you called out. So I won't bleed that dry. Jonah, what you got?
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with any of the things you're saying, but don't feel as strongly, I guess. I think the title gets a 6.5 for me. It's good. Not, it's nothing that I would call great. Album art a little higher. I gave it a 7.5. I do like the play on I forget what it's called, but it's like a staff with a serpent and the wings and stuff. But it's for physicians or doctors or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's clever, but it doesn't, it doesn't wow me necessarily. So 7.5 for the art.
I think it's a shame that this album. I like both the album cover and the song, or the album title. I think it's a shame that this album cover is way more metal than the album that it contains. Because this is a really cool album art, and I can imagine, like, if I didn't know who Motley Crue was at the time somehow, just
picking it for the cover and being disappointed,
and like you see the skulls, the 2 skulls on Motley Crue, the random German dots, and you're just like, oh man, what's the umlauts, what they're called?
Yes.
And then you're like, you got this dagger with this. I wouldn't have been smart enough at my age whenever this came out to know.
You didn't know?
Well, I mean, if I would have been a teenager, right? I'm imagining if I was
you were Jason's age.
If I was Jason's age, like, I wouldn't have made that connection. I would just saw a dagger with like a snake, or like a bearded snake with wings. I would have been like, dude, this is so metal. And then Dr. Feelgood, the song would have came on. I'm like, yeah. And then I'd have been like, oh, never mind. This isn't really metal.
And then Slice of Your Pie comes on, and you're out.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
So
what's pie?
I gave 80. I gave it 88. I gave 8 and 8.
Right.
I think it's very good. Really good.
What are your top tracks, Dave?
Shocker of the Cinch. It's gonna be the hits are gonna be near the top, but my third track.
Honorable mentions?
What's that?
No honorable mentions, huh?
No. I mean, the honorable mention is that the album ends in under an hour. My score is probably not going to be as bad as y'all think. So, my number 3 is Rattlesnake Shake. It's a catchy song, and I do like the guitar work on the song. The lyrics are whatever. But I think the guitar work and just the overall vibe of the song is pretty good. I would listen to that song unironically. Number 2, Kickstart My Heart. This is my top 2 tracks are songs that if I were to make a playlist with hair metal in them, these 2 top tracks would be in it 100%. Kickstart My Heart is a banger. That is just a good song. I like the lyrical content because we're not talking about the same old stuff. It's about Nikki Sixx.
It's about Nikki Sixx, yeah.
Dying and having to literally restart his heart.
He had two adrenaline shots.
Yeah. I mean, look, the band had some very metal things that happened to them. They just decided, to make a bunch of money rather than good music. So that's, I can't blame them for that. I would have done the same thing. So, and then number 1 to me, and it's not even close. I think Dr. Feelgood is like really, really a good song. That's such an iconic chorus. I love pretty much everything about this song. It saddens me that I think the band, and I'm memeing a little bit, but like it does sadden me that you had this really good production, and like I just wish this band would have decided to make a different genre of music. I don't want to say I wish they were more serious, because they are serious, but like I wish they would have just not been a hair metal band and just more of a straight up heavy metal band, because I think they would have been a very, very good heavy metal band had they decided to do that.
But they probably have about 10 or 12 tracks over their like library that you could probably build like what you would feel is like a good traditional metal record.
Yeah, it's just like because individually they all have talent. Like Mick Mars, he's a good guitar player. Nikki Sixx is a good bass player, and clearly he is capable of writing good lyrics. Tommy Lee is whatever. He's a drummer. I don't know.
He's a showman.
He gets a lot of praise and stuff, and a lot of that I think is for his showmanship and for his extracurricular videos that he's put out. But his drumming is, it's fine. It's Lars Ulrich in the Black Album era drumming, and that's about his peak, and that's fine. And Vince Neil exists.
Are you going to drop a link to that video down in the notes of this?
Nah, I will not.
No? All right.
I mean, nobody alive hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Well,
Jonah.
Nobody our age hasn't, at least.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
People your son's age are going to be like, I don't even know who a Tommy Lee or a Pam Anderson is.
I'll just show him Pam in her inner prime, and he'll be like, "Yeah, let's check this out."
I mean, hot take. Pam and her. Never mind. Let's
let's
Let's take that off air here. Jonah,
all right.
Go ahead.
So I do have an honorable mention. It's going to be Rattlesnake Shake. That's a very good song. Bass solo in the bridge. Hell yeah. My number 3 is going to be Dr. Feelgood. It's such a good song. It's a solid jam. My number 2 is Kickstart My Heart. That is close to being my number 1, but it didn't quite beat out my number 1. And, say what you want about whatever the song is talking about. I don't care. As soon as I heard this song for the first time, my first time listening through this album, that was kind of like the light bulb going off. I'm like, oh, this is like actually well written music. You know, whatever the lyrics may be. It's gonna be "Slice of Your Pie." That
Yeah.
riff is so good. It's a well written song. You know, despite whatever you want to say about the rest of it,
Look,
but
he likes Lemon
musically,
Meringue.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean musically, I think that's the best song on the album, in my opinion. So my number one's going to be "Slice of Your Pie."
All right.
All right. I'll go here. I have two honorable mentions. I got "Time for Change." Just I think it's a good jam. Kind of a laid back song. I like it. "Rattlesnake Shake" is another one that's popped up a couple of times here. I'm surprised to see that one pop up, especially on Dave's list. I felt like that was going to be a definite Dave hater.
No,
It's very
I
catchy. The chorus?
actually didn't like. I don't like "Slice of Your Pie," and I really don't like "Without You." I think those songs stink.
I know.
Wow.
Well, I knew you would also not like those. I'm just surprised to see this one on there. Number 3, I think this song will be on everybody's list. Dr. Feelgood. Just a great opening track to the album. Number 2, I'm surprised you other guys didn't have this. "Don't Go Away, Mad, Just Go Away." Jonah, I thought that's what you were really leaning into when you were talking about like songwriting and stuff for the record. I love this song. I think this song is it's killer, and it could have been my number one song, but "Kickstart My Heart" is just such a banger. This has just been probably my favorite Motley Crue song. This or "Wild Side" have been just kind of go back and forth for me in terms of my two favorite like Motley Crue songs. "Wild Side's not on this record, but yeah, "Kickstart My Heart." So good. Yeah. Jason,
Was "Kickstart My Heart" in Vice City? Does anybody remember? I just remembered. I have a vague memory of like a car flying through the air while that song plays, but never mind. Continue.
I'm not sure. All right, so I do have one honorable mention before we go through this. Josh, you couldn't be more accurate. "Don't Go Away." Just "Don't Go Away, Mad. Just Go Away." Is my honorable mention. We almost all had the same number 3, which is Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
Solid. My number 2 is one that nobody else had on theirs, and it's just a great song for me. "Same Old Situation." Love that song. And number 1, and it's not even close. It is an iconic, legendary song, in my opinion. "Kickstart My Heart."
Yeah.
It is. If I ever just need to like run through a brick wall, dude, I just put that on full blast and just hit play, and that opening chord opens up,
Yeah.
and you're just like you're done.
It's a great way to start that song. I mean, it's 0 to 100 immediately.
Yeah. It's such a banger riff that it pops in, and it's just the lyrics are perfect. I love that song. It's probably end up being my favorite Motley Crue song of all time, and probably the reason why I bought this album to begin with.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, next category here. This is where we like to cut these albums or cut some of the fat off these albums. We know, and you metalheads out there know, that the best metal albums of all time come with 8 tracks on them. So this album has 11 songs on it that we are trying to cut down. So we got to cut 3 out of here. Jason, give us your 3 cuts.
All right. So one, I'm taking the gimme, and that's going to be TNT right off the start. Don't need it.
Would you, if you could just roll it into Dr. Feelgood, would you, or do you feel like it's cuttable? Okay,
it's cuttable. It doesn't, in my opinion, do anything extra for Dr. Feelgood. It just kind of opens the album. So that's going to be my first easy cut. And then I had the 2 most 80s cheese songs on here, which I think is going to be on most people's lists, and that's going to be "Sticky Sweet" and "She Goes Down." I don't hate the songs. I think both songs are very catchy choruses, but the content just doesn't age as well now that we're in the year 2025, June of 2025, first week of June 2025.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I would not cut the opening song because I think I would rather listen to 42 seconds of that than 4 minutes of some of these other songs. So I'm leaving it. I'm cutting Without You. I could be without that song ever. And I agree with Jason. Sticky Sweet and She Goes Down definitely have no business ever being listened to by anyone who wants to enjoy something. So those would get cut as well. But honestly, like I could have probably cut Same Old Situation also just for funsies. But I won't.
Now I know, like, before we get to you two, I don't know if those same songs are going to be on there, but how much extra did these guys get for just writing songs like this? It's just, it's you can't fathom the amount of action that these guys were getting at this time.
I literally can't imagine it. I literally can't imagine it.
It's unbelievable.
My brain is incapable of fathoming it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jonah.
So TNT was the gimme. Same thing. I would just cut it outright. I don't think it adds anything. I don't think it adds enough to justify merging it in to Dr. Feelgood. My second cut is going to be She Goes Down. If it were better musically, I could maybe see keeping it, but it doesn't justify it. So surprisingly, I do not have Sticky Sweet. I think that one is good enough musically to justify keeping it. And this one might be a little controversial, especially for you, Josh, but the song I actually liked the least is the closer. It's Time for Change. That's going to be a cut for me. That's a skipper.
I think that's a really good closing song to an album.
Yeah, so do I.
I just don't think it matches the energy of the rest of the album. So it kind of it feels like ending on a downer for me because of the energy. So anyway, yeah, it wasn't my favorite song.
That's all right, Joan. I'm going to tag you back here in a second. All right. Cuts for me, definitely TNT. Now, I do like the back half of TNT, like where it's like the, was it paramedics or the cops talking? They go into Dr. Feelgood. I like that part of it more than I like the beginning of it. She Goes Down, universal cut here for sure. Definitely the weakest part of the album. And, look, I don't have Sticky Sweet here either. I do think Sticky Sweet is a good song. But I do have one song here, Jonah. Let's talk about Slice of Your Pie. Man, that song is butt cheeks. It's the first cut. She Goes Down as the first cut. But this was an easy second cut for me.
Yeah.
I do think if you cut these songs off, this album is like tippy top. All right, well, we're going to the last category here. This is where we like to give our scores for the record. And just to give you some context on how we score these, for a lot of folks out there, an average score would be a 7. Well, for us, it's a 5. So if we give this album anything between a 4.9 and below, that's various levels of we would not recommend this record. 5 and above, various levels of we would recommend it. And anything that's between 9 and a 10, that's an all-time classic record. As always, we try to start with the lowest score first and work our way up. Dave, go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah. I think this. So I won't belabor this too much. So like, I think my top 2 tracks hard carry this record and the production. I think if you don't get Bob Rock and you don't have these 2 hits, which they were nominated for Grammys for both of these songs, I think this record is mega mid. That being said, like the energy, like unlike a lot of these hair metal albums, like I could actually listen to this record from start to finish and not want to jump off something. So I'm at a 6.2.
All right.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jonah.
So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of the same criticisms as Dave, but they don't bother me as much. I mean, he made the analogy about turning your brain off for like really stupid movies and stuff. And I think it took me a while to do it, but I think I've kind of learned to do that with hair metal. It's stupid, yes, but if the music is good, which in this case it is, I think it's acceptable. And, you know, if we're talking about like just albums of all time, this is nowhere near the top for me. But on this hair metal list, this is one of the better ones. So I ended up landing at a flat 7.
There you go. Jason is insisting he has the best score, so I will go next, just in case. Look, like I said at the top, no need to kill this thing. I really enjoy getting to spend time with this record. It's been a long time since I've listened to the whole thing. This record's a lot of fun, and it gives me hope for the next 10 records on this list, even though the next one is Cinderella. I'm going to come in. This is the best one on this list for me. I'm going to come in at 8.1.
Wow. I was wrong. You were high. Wow.
Whoa.
Oh.
Way to mess up the program here, Jason. Go ahead.
Hey, look, that's the fun part of this gimmick is sometimes you're wrong. Look, I do love this album. There is a lot of nostalgia to this album. The issue is that while a handful of these are making my Spotify like list so that they'll be in my rotation. A lot of the rest of it is just songs that I like to listen to, but not in particular want on my liked list. And the two of the songs that I cut are just, while not terrible, it's just the content just kind of makes your eyes roll. So I end up skipping them. Even though I do like singing along with She Goes Down just because it's catchy.
I'm sure that's the only reason.
Yeah, sure. I ended up at a 7.8.
All right.
Okay. All right. We're functionally at a 7 here. Is technically a 7.28. So I'll read what we have for a 7. I feel like I've been doing this a lot with 7s, but it's okay. Good, worth listening to. A 7 is solid, enjoyable, well made. The album is strong. Tracks likely showcases creativity or skill, though it may have some filler or uneven spots. It's definitely worth listening to for fans of the artist or genre. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good explanation of this record.
Yeah, and I think too, like just looking at what's coming up on this hair metal list, like I think this is going to be the best of the bunch here for a little while, at least for a minute. I don't know. We got back-to-back Cinderella records.
Yikes.
And I've been poking through this next one, this Long Cold Winter. It's going to be a long cold week whenever that one comes up. Right? But we do have Whitesnake coming up here. We got the musical stylings of Rat. And then as we get in like this top 5, I think it's going to be slapping.
Yeah. So right now, the reigning, defending champion, undisputed champion of the hair metal list is Twisted Sister's "Stay Hungry" at a 7.83. We were all at a 7.7, an 8, 7.8, 7.8. So that is the reigning champ, and you know.
And you know
we'll
what the
see
funny
if it gets
thing
dethroned.
Is I don't think any of us were expected to even like that album.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part of doing this is experiencing some of these albums for the first time, and some of us coming in with preconceived notions and then being wrong.
Yeah,
Jason, you are wrong. There is nothing fun about doing this show. And if you agree there's nothing fun about watching this show, then go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're putting out weekly metal content right now. We got metal reactions, metal reviews, metal time machines, metal brackets, and all kinds of other cool stuff. And hey, in the meantime, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
Later.
Peace.